In the beginning, it's easy because you have your classics. You have the pictures you love most, and I think the book is really well balanced. It came out nice. I like it when people recognize your signature style. You know, at some point you have to wake up and still feel the passion to do what you do. And it's not that taking pictures of cars was getting boring, it just became comfortable. And I don't like to be comfortable. I'm at my best when I'm out of my comfort zone, because then I have to stretch myself, then I have to push myself, then I have to get the best out of myself.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Horsepower Heritage. I'm Maurice Merrick, and greetings to all of you around the world listening from places like Flushing, New York, Jasper, Georgia, Airdrie, Alberta, Canada, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Rastatt, Germany, and London, England. Thanks for joining me once again, and if you're new to the show, glad to have you on board. And today, Bart Kuykens returns to the show. Bart is a photographer based in Antwerp, and he's known for his preference for black and white analog images. He's got a very distinctive style, very grainy and ethereal, and he's now wrapped up his book series on Porsche cars and their owners, which is entitled A Flat Six Love Affair. It's now spanned 7 years and 7 books, and the final volume, which is out now, is called The Essential Love Affair, which are his favorite photos among the thousands he took in that time. So I wanted to catch up with Bart and chat about that as well as what's next for him. He's a really busy guy. He's kind of a globetrotter, and I hope you'll enjoy it. By the way, pay a visit to Bart's website, which is bartkuykens.com. That's Kuykens.com, and I'll put links in the show notes, make it easy for you. And before we get started, just a reminder, please rate and review the podcast. It's really important because it actually does help new listeners discover the show. And also share it with your car friends, because I'm on a mission to bring you the best podcast I possibly can, and growth is essential. Don't forget, there's also a Horsepower Heritage YouTube channel, and the Instagram page is about to crack 10,000 followers, which I'm pretty excited about because it's all been organic growth. I've been working pretty hard on that. So head over to YouTube and Instagram, give me a follow over there if you haven't already. And let me just say, you guys, my audience, are the key to everything here. I have big plans for the future of this brand or community or whatever you want to call it. I'm not even sure myself, but stick with me because there's great stuff yet to come. All right, sit tight, and when we come back, it's Bart Kuykens right here on Horsepower Heritage. Hi guys, Maurice Merrick here, and I want to tell you what's new at Model Citizen Diecast. First, there's the 1971 Mario Andretti Ferrari 312 B2. It's a Formula One car in 1/43rd scale, and it's perfect for that shelf in your office. Or how about a pair of 1966 Porsche 906s, both from the Targa Florio and in different liveries, also in 1/43rd scale. And you can see these and many more special cars at modelcitizendiecast.com. Use the promo code HERITAGE at checkout for 10% off your order. Limitations apply. From race cars to street cars and everything in between, it's Model Citizen Diecast. Because your inner child still wants to play with cars. Bart Kuykens, welcome back to the show. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you, Maurice.
Yeah, I know you've been super busy traveling the world. You just got back from Miami. I would love to hear about the event you were at there. But we're going to be talking today about your latest book, which is The Essential Love Affair, which is kind of like the greatest hits from your series of Flat Six Love Affair, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I've been in Miami for 17 or 18 days. I landed 3 days ago. I was at an event called DRT. That's Rentreffen, organized by Alvaro from Zweck and his team. Great event. And of course, you have the Miami weather, which is always great, especially when it was freezing in Belgium and snowing for a couple of days. And I was walking around in my t-shirt, and 28 degrees was really nice there. And yeah, I launched my latest book in the Flat Six Love Affair series, which is called The Essential Love Affair, which is basically a best-of of the 7 books that I did before.
You've shot thousands of rolls of film over the last 8 years for this project, right? How hard was it to pick your favorites?
Well, in the beginning, it's easy because you have your classics. You have the pictures you love most, the pictures you use during exhibitions, the bestsellers, the classics, and then yeah, at some point you have to make a decision. Like, so you always have to disappoint some people or yourself. Say, okay, this picture, because maybe in a couple of weeks I'm thinking, oh my god, it was an amazing picture. Why it's not in the book? But yeah, you have to make a decision at some point. And I think the book is really well balanced. It came out nice. It's a white cover instead of a gray or black cover. So I released in Miami for the first time. I shipped 100 books for the event. Was sold out in 2 days, which was really great. So yeah, I'm quite happy with how things went. I shipped, yeah, I think around 300 books the last since I came back. So they're all gonna be arriving at people's places today, tomorrow, and the next couple of days.
Nice. And Bart, for people who aren't familiar with A Flat Six Love Affair, can you give us just a rundown on how that project started and what the concept is?
Well, I started taking pictures 8 years ago from classic Porsches and their owners because I always like to include the owners in the picture as well. At least for most of the pictures. Sometimes it's a car alone, of course. But and I started with Joost Hermes. It's a guy from the Netherlands, and it's a friend. And I just asked him, "Hey Joost, can I photograph you because I'm shooting analog, black and white, and I want to see how it goes with the Porsches." Developed the pictures. They look nice. Photographed another guy, another guy, another guy, and at some point I think I had 7 or 8 people, and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna try and make a book and see where it goes." So I ended up with 35 people for the first book. We decided to go for 911 copies, which was a lot. I can tell you when they bring 911 books into your office, it's a big pile of books. But yeah, for me it was a big surprise. It sold very well, so I almost sold out in a couple of months. So I decided to keep shooting, and I decided to make a second book. And at the first book we put a P, the P from Porsche. And with the second book, I decided to put an O on the book. So I was thinking, okay, if I'm going to do that, then I have to commit and I have to make 7 books because then you will have Porsche at the end of the series, which was a little bit tricky. I was a little bit scared because when I released the second book, I didn't know if people were going to like it as much as they did with the first book. Maybe they didn't like the first book and they were not buying the second book anymore. But it went well. The book is sold out again, and then I did book 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So it's really interesting to see how how it worked. Second, I'm gonna tell the kids, Dan.
The kids are having some fun in the other room.
Second, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Jongens, ik heb de podcast voor het werk. Die zijn live aan het opnemen van Amerika. Ik wil nul geluid horen. Nul. Ja? Ga naar boven en ga voor uw tv en het geluid wordt stil. Goed, Mil? Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Right on. Well, it's fun being a dad, isn't it? And it's got to be hard to be on the road.
Yeah, when they were younger, it wasn't that hard for me because they were so young, and they had no clue anyway if I was gone for a day or for a week. I think for them felt like a little bit of the same. But now my youngest is 9, my oldest is 13. They they have their iPads or their phone and they call me like, "Hey, where are you?" and show me and send me a picture of the cars and can you bring me a jersey from a football team and whatever. So and sometimes that's okay, but if they call and you're jet lagged and they call like, "When do you come home, Daddy?" It's like, oh my god, still 10 days or whatever. Um, so yeah, that's a little bit harder, of course, because I'm doing this for quite some time now, and some years I'm around between 150 and 200 days a year that I sleep abroad in hotels, and yeah, of course it looks fun on Instagram, and it is fun. It's amazing, and I wouldn't change for anything else. But there's a lot of evening that it get really lonely as well because you're sitting there in that hotel room after a long day, and then your family is 9 hours ahead of you. Yeah, it's a different time zone, so you miss everything. So yeah, most people don't see that part of the sacrifice that I make, and it is a sacrifice because I told myself, hey, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it whatever it takes, and it gives me a lot of fun, a lot of great times, a lot of traveling, a lot of meeting super interesting people. I'm very grateful for what Jeff Swart did for me, what Pat did for me, what the guys in Miami did for me, what Magnus did for me. I'm very grateful for that, also for all the podcasts. But yeah, there's still a flip side on the coin, and that means that yeah, for example, that sometimes I miss a football game of my kids, and then I feel a little bit guilty, like, oh my god, what am I doing here? And they're having a game, and the only thing they want is that daddy is coming to watch the game, you know. And then they call me, yeah, I scored 4 times, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, there are trade-offs with everything, right? And
Of course,
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah,
I totally
yeah,
feel you. Bart, you mentioned your preferred way to shoot is on film, so analog, black and white. Your style has a grain to it in the photos that I think it makes it very distinctive.
yeah. Yeah, I started to shoot on film. I started with Leica M6, M7. Then I mixed it up with Hasselblad H1, 6x4.5 format. Because over the years my eyes got worse, and with the Hasselblad the viewfinder is a little bit more bright, is bigger of course, so it was easier for me to work. I still use the Leicas, but I switched to R7, R8. But I was consistent in shooting the same film over the 7 almost 8 years, which was Kodak Strix 400. So every picture I took was with that film, and of course it gives a nice grain to it, which I like. So you lose the details, of course, but it gives a lot of mood. You get the mood instead, and that's you get the cinematic view. And this is what I like about photography anyway, because I have a digital camera as well, of course, and yeah, sometimes difficulties with the sharpness of the picture. I think it's just too sharp to be nice. But that's a of course that's a personal feeling.
Well, there's an ethereal quality to your photography, which I really like. It I feel like I can usually identify, hey, that's Bart shot that, you know?
Well, that's a big compliment, and that's something I. It doesn't mean that I have to shoot all my life the same style, because I think you should, as an artist, you should once in a while try new things, and maybe shoot digital, or maybe shoot in color, or maybe shoot yeah different stuff. But I like it when people recognize your signature style.
Inevitably you're going to change and grow as an artist, right, throughout your career. And I mean that's true of this series, right? Like you're not the same guy you were when you started the series.
No, absolutely not. When I see volume one, I have a lot of pictures which I wouldn't take today. But back then it made sense. Back then I thought it was the way to go. Back then I thought it was the right angle to shoot, the right lens to use. And when I see it now, I would never do it again like this. For me, I also see the evolution in books 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The thing is, after a while, you know what you want and what you don't want. In the beginning, you're happy with yeah with everything, almost like hey, there's someone who wants to shoot with me. And now you get more picky, of course. After book number 2 and 3, yeah, I built up my brand a little bit, my name a little bit, so it was easier for me to get to the more interesting names without saying that the guy next door was not interesting for me, because I always kept a nice balance and consistency in shooting, and celebrities and normal people and the guy next door and the big collections and the people who has one car. And that was of course interesting to see for me. So yeah.
So Bart, I know you're back in at home in Antwerp now. You told us you just got back from Miami, but your schedule is crazy the next 6 months. I was looking at your website: Miami, Lisbon, LA, San Francisco, Zurich, Monaco. What's going on?
Well, there's a lot going on. Also, Las Vegas will be there. London and Paris will be there. Yeah, the thing is, I have a collaboration with Vitra now. That's the first thing we're gonna do. We're gonna. Oh, first I travel to Lisbon. We have a book signing there. Then I come back. Then we have the opening of Vitra and their new office in Zurich.
And is that a publisher or an art gallery?
No, Vitra is basically they make furniture.
Oh,
So they have the license of the Eames, for example, and a lot of other designers. So they're opening a new office in Zurich, and they want my work on the wall there. So we're gonna do an exhibition together with the opening of Vitra. We collaborate for that one. Then I come back for a couple of days, and then I fly to LA, San Diego, San Francisco, Palm Springs, and Las Vegas, where I will have an exhibition in Vegas and probably one in Palm Springs as well. For LA, I'm shooting the celebrities and the artists, but also some car stuff. We might do a little event there. I'm talking to a couple of people now, maybe to do a small book signing while I'm there anyway. Yes, see some friends because, of course, over the last couple of years, I traveled many times to LA. So when I'm there, it's always good to have a coffee and say hi.
well, listen, when you're in LA, first of all, we should have breakfast again if you've got time.
I think it was. I think we had breakfast at Abotkini, but I don't know the name of the place anymore.
Yeah, it's in Venice. Great little spot. There was nobody there but us. It was great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Bart, what's your plan for Monaco? Is that coinciding with the Grand Prix?
Well, I work together with a company called 820 in Germany with NFTs, and with them we decided to rent a gallery for 1 month in Monaco, and it's during the Grand Prix. So I'm gonna be there during the Grand Prix, which I think it's an amazing time of the year to be in Monaco. And we have the exhibition space, and I'm gonna do an exhibition there with my automotive prints. But I will also do collaborate with a French actress, which I photographed a couple of times, Mylène Jamponoy, and we're gonna do a vernissage with her as well. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure.
Bart, did you say 28, 8 and 20?
Yeah, exactly.
What? Tell me about them. What do they do?
Well, it's a young company, it's a new company, and they're investing now in with me. Of course, they collaborate for the NFTs, so they want to give it a try. They collaborate with musician from the Netherlands as well, making NFTs. So they do a lot of stuff. They're in the wine business, they're in the IT business, they do the NFTs. So it's really interesting. And they contacted me a couple of months ago. We met in Berlin. We had two exhibitions already, one in Munich and one in Ingolstadt, which was very successful for me. So yeah, I'm grateful for that.
Very cool. Obviously, you've got a lot going on. Are you finding any time to drive to enjoy a car these days?
Well, that's a good question. When I'm traveling and I stay for a couple of weeks abroad, then of course, then I rent a car and then I try to rent something sexy. But at home, yeah, I live in Antwerp, so I think I'll drive my classic car maybe 20 days a year. So that it's not so much, to be honest. I would love to drive them more, but the weather is not always what I hoped for. Traffic is getting more and more crazy, and yeah, I don't take them out that much anymore, to be honest. And the fun starts for me when you drive to the Black Forest in Germany. It's beautiful, but the way from here there, the 6 hours, 7 hours, including traffic jam, is quite boring on the highway. So the older I get, the more I'm thinking, should I buy something more recent?
You know what you need to do, Bart? Here's what you need to do. You have to tie it to an event. So you've got to come up with a cool road trip. So maybe you drive it to Le Mans Classic, right? In the summertime and take it on all of the secondary roads. Just avoid the highway, and have little stops on the way. Make it an adventure.
Have you ever been in Belgium?
No, I haven't.
Okay, then no. Also, the secondary way is not that interesting. Of course, it's just what you want to make out of it. But it's because I'm always limited in time, and then you wanna be quick and have a quick drive, and the quick drive doesn't work here. It works in Portugal, or it works in LA, or it works in whatever. If you live in the Carolinas, for example, it's beautiful to drive. But yeah,
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. I mean, at least you have the opportunity to travel and have those drives in those places. And that was a great list. Although I'm not sure if LA is a quick drive. It depends on where you're at. But
yeah, yeah.
some days I'm surprised by how little traffic. I was on the road the other day. Gosh, it was Friday and there was nobody out. I think everybody had already left town for the weekend.
Yeah, but in LA the traffic sucks, of course. But if you want to have a drive and you go in the mountains, it's beautiful. If you want to do a Pacific Coast Highway up and down, well, it's not like one day up and down, but you can drive it up and sleep and come back. It's a nice little cute weekend. The opportunity is there and the weather is there, of course. We have the problem of the weather, of course, as well. Because, for example, if I have a meeting in Hamburg, which is more or less like a 5, 6, 7 hour drive, if the road is good, it's 5 hours. You don't want to do that in a 912, 5 hours on the highway, because that's no fun at all. It used to be fun when I was much younger, and I was excited for every mile I did in the car. But now, yeah, you have to be there on time. You have a schedule. You want to come back as well, of course. So, and if you got stuck in a major traffic jam,
Yeah, I get it. So, by the way, I need to mention that you also do a lot of portraiture, and you had a book called Fast and Painless that was all portrait photography. Some people famous, some not so famous, but all interesting faces.
yeah, I was traveling so much, and I met so much interesting people and beautiful faces that I started to take portraits of people as well. At some point you have to wake up and still feel the passion to do what you do. And it's not that taking pictures of cars was getting boring, it just became comfortable. And I don't like to be comfortable. I'm at my best when I'm out of my comfort zone, because then I have to stretch myself, then I have to push myself, then I have to get the best out of myself. So I started to take portraits of people, and at some point I had so much that we made a book out of it. And the book is called Fast and Painless. And then people ask why fast and painless, because I shoot fast and I think painless as well. And it was always my one-liner to, if you reach out to a celebrity or to an artist, of course they never have time. And then I always told them, listen, I shoot fast and painless, and it's going to be done in a couple of minutes. I have an interesting story about, at some point I photographed Dave Gann from Depeche Mode. He's not in the book, by the way, because the book was released already. And his manager said, okay, we're going to make it work, don't worry. So at some point we meet in the hotel in Paris. I was traveling with them 5 days, London, Paris, and then Berlin for a little show. And he said, okay, you have 2 minutes. The light, I should film everything. So the light was not even, so you have to prepare a little bit before that to know, okay, how is the light here? I set my camera, because most of the time you don't have that much time with those guys. And I don't think it was even, I think it was 30 seconds. So I took a picture, I took another one, and the manager tapped on my shoulder and said, okay, man, it's time to go. And that was it. I took 4 or 5 pictures, but I have 2 good ones. Yeah, it's a total different way of taking pictures than people with a car. You can tell the people, hey, I want the car here or there. They have a little bit more time. You can direct it a little bit more. And with celebrities, when they're really big names, they give you 1 minute and you have to do it. And I like that as well.
Shooting cars, though, the lighting is completely different too, right?
Yeah, of course. If you shoot a portrait, you see, or you try to frame in a different way than you frame a car. Yeah, I'll go with the flow there. I said it before, I don't really prepare for a shoot. I go to the place, I meet somewhere with them, and I see how it goes. And most of the time, I'll get the most out of it, and I try to be creative.
Well, listen, Bart, thanks for coming back on the show. With all the stuff that you got going on, it sounds like things are really rolling along for you. The book is called The Essential Love Affair. It's the last in your series of 7. So if you're a Porsche fan, check it out. The website is bartkuykens.com. That's BartKuykens.com. And I'm going to put links in the show notes so that people can check that out and grab a copy. And looking forward to seeing you when you hit LA.
March 6th, I will be there.
Excellent, my friend. All right, I know it's late there in Antwerp. Thanks for staying up late with me.
Thanks, Maurice. See you soon.
That's all for this episode of Horsepower Heritage. Go to buymeacoffee.com/HP Heritage, and you can give as little as $2 to support the show. Or you can make that a monthly gift, which helps me bring you more great stories. I'll see you back here on this Friday, February 24th, for a special bonus episode. And we're going to be talking about some homegrown American sports car classics. So tune in then. You got a 2 for this week. And then we're back to the bi-weekly schedule on Wednesday, March 8th with a deep dive into the fascinating early history of Bentley motor cars. All right, my friends, until next time, I'm Maurice Merrick. Thanks for listening.